Welcome, everyone, to episode 2 of Gaming with the Geeks. I am, of course, the host, Adam Mickelson. You know the panel here. We have the Shadow Blazer, we have Stephen Romney, and we also have Aldo Gomez of Board Offline and all his wonderful things. And today, like we did last time where we showcased the Wii U, this time we're showcasing a Sony console. It's almost like we're fanboys. What? What on earth are you going to do about it? And this time we're actually tackling a new game. We're tackling Mortal Kombat X. I want to say MKX every time, or MK10, but it is Mortal Kombat X.
I just find it kind of ironic that we're doing a Sony console and I'm wearing a Zelda shirt.
Traitor. Reference to our Avengers Age of Ultron review that we just did. So we're actually going to start things up with the multiplayer, obviously, because this is a fighting game. This is what it is. You can obviously see they brought in a couple of the original features of MK9. Custom combat, test your might.
I love that custom combat is spelled with a K.
Every hard C is spelled with a K.
Because poor literacy is cool.
Well, I was going to say, because Ed Boon likes to abuse the letter K. Ever since they put it on Mortal Kombat, he just likes using K.
Well, yeah, then the letter C snubbed him at a party when he was starting out, and so he just made a conscious effort to never have it be part of his title.
I was actually going to go for a Monty Python sketch, but I like what you did there.
I'm actually surprised that Test Your Luck still has a C in it.
Yeah, but
KK.
I think the idea is that he doesn't want the C to be the start of the word.
No, you don't like that. So we're going to start up things with player versus player.
Player versus player.
Here's the full roster. Now, unfortunately, we do not have any of the DLC characters, so you don't get those. We're going to mess things around, and I'm actually going to hand the controller over to Romney, because while we are doing this, if people remember last week, Aldo missed out on some things. So we're actually going to recover. There were some stories this week. You broke it.
Oh, he has to sign into a character.
Oh, does he?
To a profile.
Okay.
Oh, now he's the player one.
Okay, so now I know how to fix this. So at this point, special shout out to my little brother. This is actually his copy of MKX. We're actually going to use his avatar to play. Or did it just make me the two-player?
It just made you play.
Press start on the other one.
There we go.
Now we have.
Haven't you guys played a fighting game on a PS4 ever?
No,
actually, this is my first time using the console.
Well, because of my area of expertise and day job, I know way too much about the PS4. And
you are the PS4 master.
Alright, who to play?
So again, we don't have the DLC characters. We didn't get the bundle with the Predator and Jason Voorhees and Tanya. So unfortunately, you're not going to get those, but you can get the multiplayer that they originally have.
Okay, so Adam got to be controversial last time, so I'm going to be controversial this time.
Are you going to be the gay guy?
The House Molina controversial. Well, I don't know. She got kind of horny in MK9.
Well, I was going to say if you want to get controversial, go with the gay Shaolin master.
Next time.
Alright, not sure how did the...
Oh, that's right, because Kung Jin is.
Yeah.
It's Kung Jin?
I think so.
The archer? So we also did have some stories break this week that we're going to just kind of give a little bit of coverage to, obviously. And we kind of have to do this a little fast because Aldo's running out of time. So he probably won't be in the remaining segments. Not that he hates us, he's not minutes.
I have to go strap a car battery to the battery in my chest.
I like it. I like it.
Redundant statement is redundant.
Crazy.
Call me.
So, well, let's get this fight going, and maybe we'll even do some custom combat matches. I don't know. So the first story that we have to cover here is obviously the one that you missed out on.
Okay.
How you doing, Butterface?
That'd better be a compliment.
Best I can do.
I actually do like the interactions in this game.
Yeah.
So, first story that we've got to cover, Frank Miller announces The Dark Knight Returns, The Master Race. Wow, look everybody, Robbie got over it. He's not killing me.
No, I'm using Alex as a practice dummy.
I was afraid of that. So what were your viewpoints on that, Aldo?
Here's the thing.
And also the fact that it's the story that we covered on it actually said that it was in continuity with Batman v Superman.
What?
Yes, it is. It will actually lead up to the events of Batman vs Superman.
That's horrible. It's the first thing that's
It's terrible.
I guess like part of the problem is that it's first of all it's movie continuity, so that's already not that great. I know it's being co-written for the most part with Frank Miller. I think there's somebody that's helping him write as well as an artist. So at least that gonna take some worry off. But some of Frank Miller out of continuity stories,
Holy terror.
Holy Terror, that also are Batman and Robin. It's all out of continuity stuff. Is probably the oh, that was just a legitimate comment.
That was a legitimate comment. It's hard to tell with me.
It's just like it's not the best stuff he's done, and the best stuff he's done has been in continuity, and I think it's because the leashes are reined in.
Yeah, like DC and Marvel know when to yank the reins, and when they don't, they get crazy Frank Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the perfect way to put it, but obviously this does concern us. Romney did not appreciate that I was trying to put in the Holy Terror, the Fixer, as in continuity of the DCU.
I hope it's never.
I really hope not, but you know what? It's Frank Miller. How to do his fatality. It's alright, it's alright. Oh my gosh, they took the friendship and made it a victory. That is awesome. Johnny Cage, forever the egotist. This one, so before you pick your next character there, Romney, because I think you guys are gonna need to have a moment of squeeing. So the next story that we're going to be covering is a new Dragon Ball series is coming! Wow, that was a squeak.
No excited. You have no idea how excited I am for this.
Now, here's the thing. We don't have a whole lot of information on it. We know Akira Toriyama is part of it. We also know that it will take place after Boo.
Yes.
But we don't know how far, how far in between Boo and GT is. If GT is even considered continuity.
I think it's kind of like a sub-canon because I don't think Toriyama is a big enough jerk to straight up go and say, we're going to erase all this work he did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think he's happy enough with it that he's going to actually acknowledge that it's a thing.
Yeah, like, I don't think Pan is going to be any older than maybe like a toddler.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
I mean, we already did get a reference to her in the Battle of the Gods movie, with the pregnancy.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to get that, but it is exciting that we are going to be getting a new Dragon Ball series.
And it's written by Toriyama.
And it's, yes.
That's all I need to hear.
That's the biggest part of it, is that it is written by Akira Toriyama. Not to say that I wouldn't mind a new person getting attached to it, but I love it when the original writers either come in to advise or come in and write it. Obviously, I don't think I need to state this. Rami is also excited.
Yeah.
He's squeeing inside.
I squeed when I found the story initially.
Yes, because like I said before, we have our own little Facebook where we share these stories, and he's like, set vocals to squeak. So yes, new Dragon Ball series, absolutely awesome. I don't think that they should disinclude any characters. I actually would like to see this. That, like, I want to see him training with Goku.
I'd like to see more Boo. I think people liked his design. It was just disappointing that we just saw him at the end.
Well, the problem also was just the jarring concept of the last episode of DBZ was him in his, village guard, and then the first episode of GT is him in a game.
Yeah.
And it's like, there is so many years of stuff that we have missed here.
Yeah.
And it's just forced down our throats that Boob is a good guy.
Yeah.
You know? We wanted to see those moments, maybe like his inner Majin Buu came out.
Well, he did appear in GT for a bit. You mentioned it. He did fuse with Boo.
Yeah, he became Maju.
Yeah.
Is what they call it.
Which was,
I just call it Maju.
I'm either way on that, honestly.
So, on to the next story here, and I actually just want to get your viewpoint on it. So there's a rumor floating around, according to Alex, that Marvel's Spider-Man has a possible candidate.
Yes.
It is Asa Butterfield. If anybody knows who that is, or doesn't know who that is, he is the main character in Ender's Game, the movie rendition. And I think that was his first one, wasn't it?
I feel like he might have done like a TV role once or twice before
Yeah.
that, but nothing really actually gets him up.
Yeah, his first major role had to have been Ender's Game.
Which, quite honestly,
This pretty much says it's Peter Parker.
Yeah, oh definitely.
They changed the movesets. I don't remember.
Oh, and I earned a trophy apparently.
Yeah.
Jumping bean.
Liu Kang wins.
They like completely changed the moveset for Liu Kang.
Dude, that's Liu Kang?
Well,
Holy
yeah.
crap.
Well, that's because you have 3 movesets for everybody.
Yeah.
So
They-
each
they-
one of them has a different.
This is the same kind of thing that they did in starting in 4, right?
Yeah.
Where they tried to have 3 different fighting styles and weapons.
Well, the difference was like in 4, you could switch mid-fight.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm guessing the middle one is the default one, which is probably why I'm
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
And they all go towards specialization. So, like for Scorpion, you have one that's specialized towards fire and one that's specialized towards ninja weapons.
I see.
We will take we'll have somebody take the reins next match, but
And that explains why I couldn't do the ball punch.
I was gonna say, but yeah, no, but with Asa Butterfield, I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's the same thing with Andrew Garfield. He'd really only done one big movie before, and it wasn't necessarily a comedic movie where it was him in the Social Network.
You sure seem
I guess
untraumatized.
the one other question that I would have here is, Andrew Garfield is done.
Yeah,
So what happens to the Sinister Six movie?
that's done.
It's trash.
trash.
It's officially trash.
I think it's officially done.
All right. So and that would make sense.
Yeah.
Now, originally, the other thing that I want to mention with this is that they do have a concept title for Marvel's Spider-Man, which would be Spider-Man: The New Avenger, kind of referencing
Yeah.
the first Avenger with Captain America. I don't have a problem with the title, and I think Asa's got to be like in his teens,
Yeah, he's
like 15, 16.
he's unknown enough that if the franchise really, picks up again, which probably wouldn't hurt the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah.
He's still relatively cheap and unknown enough that Marvel can really do a lot with him.
Yes.
Before he gets too big.
Absolutely.
I'm honestly not a big fan of New Avengers with subtitle. I really would have preferred another reference to one of his movies, like Spectacular Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah, like amazing or spectacular, superior, things like that.
Yeah. I actually think it would have been super hilarious if the first Marvel Spider-Man movie would have actually been called Superior Spider-Man, because that would have been such a kick in the face to Fox.
Oh yeah. So the other story that I also want to get into, because this would affect you so much, and we'll get into it with Alex as well. So, how do you feel about a petition being put towards the UN to ban anime?
I think I don't think people understand what we're talking about.
So apparently a German guy, he wants to put a ban, or he's put forth a petition to the UN to ban anime and manga. Good luck on that, buddy. Because it's the UN, they're not going to get anything done.
It's not going to go anywhere.
And the worst part about this, like, I don't know what to laugh at first. The fact that this guy put forth a petition, or the fact that almost 400 people signed it.
Yeah.
And sure, I get, like, Alex brought up a point where it's like, it must be joke people, but no. 400 people signed this petition. This guy thinks that's credible.
Dang.
So, I mean, holy crap, man. Let's actually go ahead and have Aldo kind of take over for Alex here, and we're going to get his opinion on this story, since it was suggested by him.
Actually, it was Aldo.
Or
That was me. That was me.
Yeah.
No, it was Aldo.
You're only delaying the inevitable, Adam.
Rondo Fett? Or
Yeah.
Ollie Fett? I don't know.
You know, I think about 10 years ago, maybe a little less, a little more, I remember, I think I saw a similar petition for something that was somebody was, this is before even change.org probably existed, that somebody was asking George W. Bush to please ban anime and manga from the United States, and I went to the change.org petition, I read the man's grievances, I actually tried to look up the man's profile. Oddly enough, change.org keeps profiles private, which seems counterintuitive for an activism site.
Do we need to switch seats, Aldo, so that the light isn't right in your face?
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, let's do. Actually,
yeah,
Alex,
this
why don't
camera's-
you stick where you are, and then I will.
Yeah, this camera's like close to death as well, so if we want to get like
Exactly.
all those.
So, like, get the players on shot. I'm gonna go ahead and take this too, because this is gonna go off. So, okay, keep going, Alex. So, I actually would not be surprised if it actually got brought up, because 90s anime. But, yeah.
It's just, I guy with too much time on it, honestly, or he just is trolling. It's hard to do this seriously, because I think this for...
But Alex, it's a German guy. They don't troll.
Sure they do. Everybody can troll. Everybody's got the potential to troll. It's so stupid.
Especially something like the Shield HQ or something.
Yes, sure. No, it's supposed to be like Combat HQ or whatever for the human defenders.
You know, I generally hear into active social ladders. You never know how to do sport. I don't understand how eliminations works, much less how
It's not going to happen. That's the bottom line. And I especially love the... I'm going to cite the article in what he claims are the offending behaviors, if it'll bring it up. Okay, so this is what he's put up on change.org, because, you know, that's where you put your petitions, and they totally get seen. So the 5 grievances he has: claiming the media encourages young people to be lazy. That doesn't matter.
Like, not kind of any media, really. Maybe not so much sports, unless you're just into sports broadcasting.
Okay, Alex, but what about unhealthy and unhygienic living?
Okay, that's kind of generalizing an entire group of watchers. I don't deny that there's going to be people like that out there. He goes on, he mentions the needs that we're talking, the not shut-ins, do that. I'm not denying those are
Yes.
and there are definitely anime that probably romanticize that lifestyle.
Oh yeah? Well, you can't combat social ineptitude.
Social ineptitude. People are drawn to clicks, period. And if people are joining anime because they might be socially shy or whatever, I know I am.
Yes.
Whether it's anime, whether it's sports, whether it's video games, whether it's freaking occult worships in the wood, there's weird shit for everything, basically.
Well, I'll bet you can't come back with sexual perversion.
Pretty sure there's...
I love the fact that Aldo's like subtly grinning at these charges.
They're terrible.
They're horrible because they don't really tell anything. They're so broad.
They are. They're so broad. I can't name anything, but I'm sure there's... Oh. Yeah, right.
So basically, Romney, you are sexually perverted because you watch anime.
Apparently, I'm sexually perverted.
Yeah,
too,
apparently we're all perverts.
Why on earth are you watching us? I mean, seriously. But I'll bet you.
I want this poster to please give me an article where some poor kid might have been assaulted in a bathroom somewhere because the pedophile happened to watch anime.
Well, you actually brought up the last charge, which is pedophilia.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying the creation of Pedo Bear is because of anime?
Pedo Bear is because of many reasons.
Pedo Bear's a meme.
See, here's the problem. Young people to be lazy, unhealthy and unhygienic living, social ineptitude, sexual perversion, and pedophilia. Do you realize how broad these terms are?
You know,
and anything can cause them.
Yeah.
Well, not anything, but I mean, mostly like personal decisions can lead to a lot of things.
Here's the thing. The article goes on to mention that he brings up conventions, that people go to conventions and they're often overweight. Well, yeah, because this is a non-physical medium here. This is not we're not playing soccer, we're not playing baseball, we're not playing football. So let's face it, you're gonna have people who are probably overweight.
You are a son to me.
Drawn into these, but that's true for almost anything.
So basically what you're saying is that I can blame anime on the fact that I'm overweight!
I love that
I've been doing it wrong this whole time!
I love he also mentions binge watching, which is pretty much a thing now, period. It's not just limited to anime, it's also
Anime did not start binge watching.
No, it's hell, pretty much
DVDs did.
Netflix also.
Yes.
Every TV show now is designed to appeal to binge watchers now.
Okay. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. This position has very little to stand on.
So I want to, I tried to look up this guy's profile, but for whatever reason, change.org's active profiles private.
Yes.
Even though you think you want to go support other causes there. But whatever. He wants to make generalizations. I'm gonna make some generalizations. Okay, if you watch American football, you watch the Super Bowl. Well, all you do on Super Bowl Sunday is eat a lot of unhealthy food, get drunk, and beat your wife when she interrupts. That's what football players do there.
Yeah.
Generalizations.
Flame shield up. And so let's go ahead and get into the next story because this is already bringing up the rage within the Shadow Blazer. So this one is going to be kind of a minor one, but you did bring it up. So we have images of Casey Jones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, and they're not really good. Or at least as far as I'm concerned. We'll put up the image in a corner somewhere, but
It's Casey Jones. It's a guy in a hockey mask and maybe
yeah.
here.
There really isn't much to work with on that one. But I guess a lot of people were expecting more because Stephen Amell is playing him. And how can you go past what they're doing? You know? And Aldo and Romney can chime in on this one, but
I'm curious.
I mean, it's a dude with a hockey mask and a hockey stick.
Honestly, considering all the changes they made to the Turtles, I'm happy that it's just that. I think more than anything, it's a sigh of relief that he doesn't have 50 billion hockey sticks coming out of his back.
Or like a giant sports double bag, baseball bat, and some sort of wrist-mounted tennis racket.
Yeah. Or for the most part, like we didn't have him in football.
He's not making Casey Jones.
That would be awesome. Mecha Casey Jones. Submit that idea, Alice. I love that.
I'm still trying to figure out how to do my flying kick.
Michael Bay, you pay me now. I just gave you your next transform.
There you go. There really isn't much to cover on this one, and Romney and Aldo don't really have much to add, just because there really isn't a whole lot to do.
I'm just happy he's just a dude in a hockey mask.
Yeah.
That's all he is, really.
I mean, it's one of those things where we have
Yay! I did it!
Who's set to play Casey Jones for us?
Stephen Amell. He plays Arrow. He's the main character in Arrow.
So just out of curiosity, what do you guys look back on the originals? The original movies. What do you think of the last Mateus? So, do you like him? Do you hate him? Do you think him?
I've never seen the original movies, so I can't really tell.
I've only seen the first, and I don't remember.
Yeah, he's in the first.
Yeah, again, my nostalgia's with the 2000 series. And my camera is dead, so now whoever's over there is invisible.
It's alright, I'm invisible. So that means I can do whatever I want.
That's when you cue the Dio song.
Alright, so let's go ahead and have Romney. Alex, why don't you go ahead and take over for Romney, and I'm going to go over some stories with
I guess I'll stay on
with
camera.
Romney. So, first of all, I guess the first story that we can cover with you is... first of all, anything to add on any of the stories that we covered so far? This Dragon Ball series you're excited about.
Yeah, pretty excited.
Ace of Butterfield.
Well, I'll wait until I see a trailer, because he's not that bad of an actor. I mean, he did okay in Ender's Game, but that film had more problems that wasn't really limited to the acting.
And honestly, that was a serious movie, and Spider-Man's a comedic character, so we haven't really seen him be comedic.
What were you going to go into, Alex?
Yeah, you didn't really get to my opinions on it either, but...
So, go ahead.
Dragon Ball Z, I'm gonna admit, I'm pretty apathetic because I'm not a Dragon Ball fan.
It's not Dragon Ball Z. We don't even know what's
Dragon Ball Z. It's all Dragon Ball. Who gives a shit?
I do.
Wow, you are. And here's the funny part. Alex is dead after this because he was in between two Dragon Ball fans.
And he's also currently fighting one in the match, so...
Yeah, he's dead.
So, yeah.
So,
Ace of Butterfield, I for one, actually like the Ender's Game movie.
I was actually asking if you'd seen it.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, so I saw it in her contrast with the book and the movie. Interesting, but overall, I like the movie. I think it's potential, but right now, it's only rumor. We'll see if it actually happens.
Round 2.
So, and right now, I guess I can pretty much point this out. So, Romney, if you agree with this petition to ban anime, or you don't agree with it, you are officially a young person who is lazy, unhealthy, and unhygienic, socially inept, sexually perverted, and a pedophile.
So, basically, all the members of the Senate.
Pretty much. So, yes, you don't agree with the petition either, I guess.
I don't see how anybody with any rational mind could, because, well, like any generalizations, you could say that anybody who watches daytime soap opera is some sort of lazy shut-in that is obviously not getting enough action and is mainly but doesn't have the quote-unquote shame to watch regular pornography.
So, the next story that I want to get into specifically because you brought it up and then Aldo countered with it, bringing up a YouTube video, or I think it was a YouTube video. Silent Hills got canceled as of this week.
Yeah.
Guillermo, and it came from Guillermo himself. So, Silent Hills, and Aldo is a fan, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you guys... I actually am not a fan of Silent Hill. I actually never touched them. So, are you guys disappointed by this announcement?
Well, I am, but it's kind of because it ties into a much larger thing that's currently going on over at Konami, with how they're more or less trying to get rid of Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, it's Kojima's war. Basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is that... And the video that Aldo put on the Facebook page kind of went into detail about how this guy got news from more or less an insider at Konami, explaining how they basically combined all the they've taken Bimani and split it and merged it with just the main people. Bimani being the people who make Dance Dance Revolution, Martial Beat, all those music games. They're now just they've basically been disbanded, are now just part of the main company's music and audio production segment. Then there's even been rumors of them having security doors malfunction, having internet outages for the people over at Kojima Productions, which they're even changing the name from Kojima Productions to Unit 8. And so, it's disappointing to see Silent Hills canceled because, one, the series is in a desperate need of an evolution because after the stuff like Silent Hill Homecoming, Downpour, after having it outsourced to a lot of these American studios, finally having someone on board who has a unique vision could have brought the series back into focus. But with the, well, for lack of a better term, pissing match going on between Kojima
and the pissing match is not helping anybody. I mean, a later story that Alex actually uncovered. I don't know if you noticed this, but Konami is off the New York Stock Exchange. They are having problems.
Yeah, mainly
because infighting is not helping.
Well, yeah, and the infighting is part of just an ongoing effort because they looked at the numbers, and Konami makes more money with stuff like pachinko machines and slot machines than they do with video games. And so they've been just shifting more into mobile development as well as developing the gambling machines. Because that's where the money is, and that's been leading to a lot of this massive restructuring over at Konami that a lot of people aren't really happy with.
And I don't think even Kojima's happy with it. I mean, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I actually saw Koji Igarashi come out and kind of give Konami a thrashing, saying, he didn't like this treatment there. That also kind of played into why he left. Aldo, did you see that story at all with Iga coming out?
Yeah, yes. Sorry, I'm just distracted by the iPhone. Yes.
Koji Igarashi coming out and saying he had some issues with Konami and their restructuring. So it's a bad time for Konami, and it really makes me worried what's going to go on with them.
Well, yeah, and it's just, especially with just how they're not firing people, they're more or less making the conditions so unbearable that they have no choice but to quit. And that is pretty much just kind of a dick move. I mean, if you're not going to have the decency to actually fire the people, then come on.
Yeah.
Cheat them out of it.
Yeah.
But security doors are malfunctioning. I'm really hoping that Konami's not going to start stupid and killer advertising.
Well, given that, I doubt they even go
and
that
now
far.
that he said it, Scott Cawthon gets announced 2 weeks from now that he's working for Konami.
Whatever.
Now, I think what would more happen is that they would basically just lock them in a room with pachinko machines, and then they have to buy their freedom with the amount of balls they have.
For the most part. So the next story I want to get into, because you actually have some insight onto this. So James Wan is in talks to direct the live-action Robotech. Now, I don't really know James Wan. I think Aldo knew James Wan a little bit. Alex didn't think you knew him particularly.
Well, yeah, because James Wan, he's best known for the Saw films. He also directed The Conjuring, Insidious, both chapters 1 and 2, and most recently, Furious 7.
Yes.
And looking at those films, I actually find it a pretty good thing that they're giving it to James Wan because he's shown that he is a good director.
Okay. Because, I mean, Robotech, I love the franchise, and I really want the right director to take him on. So, you think he would be the right director for the property?
I think so. If not necessarily not knowing how to handle it, he at least would give it a try to actually, at the very least, make a good movie.
Yeah.
Which tends to be a problem with a lot of adaptations, where some people make these movies and don't set out to make them good. Even if James Wan isn't that familiar with it, he would at least make something that is entertaining and is actually enjoyable, even if it doesn't necessarily please the Robotech fans.
Well, and he would do his homework, at least to some extent. So.
Well, yeah, because that's what he did for stuff like The Conjuring, which is based on Ed and Lorraine Warren. He actually did research on the Warrens, and so
yeah,
it's kind of of the director they could choose, I'd say he's a pretty good choice.
And I guess the next question I would bring in would be like practical effects versus CG. That's kind of answering itself because Robotech is going to have to be reliant on CG.
Yeah.
And he is a horror director, so he has been able to utilize practical effects, but
he's also been able to utilize both. It's just kind of a case he knows when to use which things. In The Conjuring, it was used mostly practical, but there was some CG work. And with Furious 7, there was a great deal of CG work because of some of the really, really impossible stunts. And the rumors that they had to reconstruct Paul Walker's face onto the face of one of his brothers. I don't know if that's true.
That sentence sounds a lot more morbid when you...
It really does! How appropriate that we brought this up during Mortal Kombat. It's like somebody did a fatality to him, and then we have to put the face back on. We have to put the face back on.
Yeah, so basically, like, James Wan, he seems like the kind of director who knows how to use the tools properly. He knows when to not fill every frame with CGI. Yeah, but he also knows when he needs to use it.
Okay, and I agree with that. The next story that I actually want to get into with you is obviously you are a diehard Power Rangers fan, and you were the one that presented this story. Power Rangers film, no, Alex was. Power Rangers film has been delayed to January 13th, 2017. I really hope that isn't a Friday.
Well, of course it is. All the films come out on Friday.
And I didn't even notice the little detail at the bottom. Dean Israelite is set to direct film. So he is set, the director of
Project Almanac
is set for Power Rangers. That's... I got issues, but...
Yeah, I haven't seen Project Almanac, so I don't really know. But in the interview announcing that he was attached, he's mentioned that he's a fan, so at the very least, they're not giving it to someone like Paul W.S. Anderson or Michael Bay.
Yes, so, and here's the other thing to keep in mind. It isn't just being Israelite, like, people are wondering how faithful is it going to be to Power Rangers. Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz are penning the script. They are previously known for First Class, X-Men First Class, and Thor. And then we also do have Saban way involved with the process. So, does this delay say something bad for this film? I actually would say it doesn't.
Well, I think it could. It doesn't necessarily say that the film is going to be bad, but more that the studio doesn't have a lot of faith in it. But another thing to keep in mind is that because of this cultural hype that's kind of emerged, especially in the wake of all the Marvel movies and everything, the holiday and summer movie seasons have become extremely crowded. And so it's kind of a case of that they're probably, given how they know how risky a Power Rangers film is, especially given that the previous feature-length films based on Power Rangers didn't necessarily do that well at the box office, they're probably more or less hedging their bets. And a lot of people think, oh yeah, they think it's doomed. Well, they haven't really started production, so it's just more of a case of they're putting that release date there to probably take the pressure off and say, okay, well, we're not going for a holiday release, we're not going for a summer release, so...
And another good reason that might be happening, I actually think you had a good theory on it, which is, why don't you go and share that theory?
So yeah, the other theory I have, and it's a theory that I can somewhat back up based on a few pieces of evidence, not anything that's actually been said, but looking at the past, my theory, as a way to draw in both current fans and people who aren't familiar with this new reboot, is that they may want to have this film cross over with the cast of Dino Charge, which is the current season playing. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that for those of you Tokusatsu fans of that, you may remember that in the team-up film, Juden Sentai Kyoryuger versus Go Busters 100 Years After, I think that's the official title, you may remember that the cast of Zyuranger, Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, which is the basis for Power Rangers, and Bakuryu Sentai Aba Ranger, which is the basis for Power Rangers Dino Thunder, both of those casts appear in that team-up movie as part of a huge team-up between all the dinosaur-themed Sentai.
Yeah.
And given that Austin St. John has mentioned that he's been in talks with Saban to appear on Dino Charge, but that hasn't been confirmed yet, I'm guessing as part of a promotion, they may not be in the film itself, but maybe it'd be part of a tie-in, is that they may want to have the cast of Dino Charge interact with this new Mighty Morphin cast, maybe even have some of the interactions and events of their interaction set the stage for this new reboot universe. And it could work in the sense of they have the cast interact in the movie, and then in the show they can have the cast also interact, but be able to use the Sentai footage where you actually see the Mighty Morphin costumes.
So basically, they're finding a way to be able to make decent cameos for movies.
Not necessarily that, but I think it's just more. It's probably just more in case they want to. Again, Power Rangers is an expensive series to produce, and so if they can minimize costs, they'll probably do it. And so, with something like what happens in Show Future, if I were a producer over at Lionsgate or at Saban Brands, that's how I would probably approach it. And given that it'd be around January when they would be going into Dino Supercharge, or maybe it'd be even towards the end of Dino Charge, because it's 2017 now that I did the math. That's kind of my theory as another reason why they might be pushing this, because maybe they want to move production to New Zealand, maybe they want to try to use as much of the assets of the show they can to minimize costs, and so they figured, okay, well maybe we can bring in the cast of Dino Charge, have them interact with these new Rangers, and kind of set the stage for what this new reboot might be like.
It might be a good idea too. I do like the fact that we're bridging the activities.
Yeah, now again, this is only a theory. It has not been confirmed.
I'm just curious. Aldo has been shaking his head like that's a bad idea.
No, I've been shaking my head.
Yes, it is pretty gruesome.
So it's just a theory, a Romney theory.
Yes.
A Romney
I mean,
theory.
this is only speculation. Nothing's been said. That is only my crazy theory. But it kind of ties into how, for example, you look at how long Samurai and Megaforce ran. They both ran for 2 years because of the seasons. And so the timelines do kind of line up to where, since that could be the start of 2017, Dino Charge would probably be wrapping up around that time, and so they probably wanted to do some sort of send-off movie. But that's kind of my theory, is that it wouldn't be so much just bringing the cast to try to bring new fans, but also to use a lot of assets that are already in place in New Zealand for the show to try to minimize costs, which is why they're setting it on a January release date, so that way it's not as much of a gamble as it would be, say, trying to compete with whatever Marvel movie or whatever Disney movie or whatever superhero movie or genre film is coming out during the holidays or the summer.
That might be the best way to do that, is you don't want to compete with them, especially when you're trying to establish it.
I see what you're saying, but the problem is that time of year is such a dumping ground for terrible film.
It is.
So, and I swear, even good films that come out that time, they still suffer because it's a dumping ground.
Yeah, and so again, it's still kind of worrisome that they're releasing it in January, but
It's almost 9 actually, so.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
So we're going to go ahead and I think that's covered plenty of the multiplayer. So, and unfortunately, Aldo actually has to leave us at this point. But before we do that, I wanted to get kind of you guys' forethoughts on the Mortal Kombat X multiplayer. Aldo, like, are you not impressed with it, or do you think they've gone in the right direction?
I like it, though it did feel a little unresponsive. I don't know if you guys felt that.
well, yeah, like certain moves are like hard to pull off because of that whole.
That's actually because of a bug that we actually just barely found out with the response time.
Yeah, because I was doing it. I don't know if it's timing, if there's like a timing change that they've made, or if it is the bug. But there was a couple of times when I would do a combo, I would try to repeat the special move with the combo, and it just wasn't going off.
That's exactly the bug, is that response time changes and you aren't able to complete the full combo.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately that bug is still there. I have a feeling they'll fix it, but overall, I mean, it's a pretty game.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and I like the interactive like stages of using stuff from the stages. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know, I guess with more practice I might enjoy it a little bit more, mainly because I was trying to figure out which of the classic moves I could use, and I wanted to see the ball punch. I couldn't get the ball punch to work.
I think I got, no, that was Johnny Cage.
There actually is like a ball puncher spec for Johnny Cage.
Yeah, no, like one of the things I do like is the change, like the change ups you can get, how you can change your characters.
Actually, let's go ahead and quit to the main menu.
I do like the fact that like they each have their variations, and that's kind of nice. I like that type of stuff. Like that's why I'm happy that Evo was allowing custom characters for Smash.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with that, though I do wish I had like more time to kind of sit down and experiment with them and see which is more to my liking. But I do like the fact that it gives you a description. It goes like, well, this one uses charge moves, or this one gives them more aerial combos, and I was like, oh, well, I know which ones to not choose.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much covers things, I think, for Aldo. So unfortunately, he needs to take off, but. we will see him again for the next session of Gaming with the Geeks. It is disappointing that you will not be here for the other stuff that we have to cover, but we will see him next time, and hopefully we'll see him in the next episode, but he's still dealing with internet issues, so...
In the meantime, what about Romney and Alex? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so what are you guys' thoughts on the multiplayer as you've seen it?
Well, like I mentioned, I like the interactive stages, and that's pretty much so far the only thing I like, because I haven't just quite been able to get the hang of just the overall balance of the game, because I'm flying into this mostly blind.
Yeah.
Because, like with any fighting game, it takes a while to learn, and only some of the moves of some of the classic characters seem to work, because they've implemented this new 3 different fighting style system that they lifted from Marvel vs. Capcom.
Well, and I actually don't think it was lifted from there. I think it's mainly to emulate all the... They basically wanted to fix all the problems that they had with their previous installations, because the 3 fighting styles was brought in Mortal Kombat 4, weapons were brought in, stage fatalities were brought in Armageddon, I think. No, that was the Create Your Own. I think it was Deception that did stage fatalities. So this was basically them trying to do their original ideas right, unless I'm wrong on that, Aldo.
A little bit. I think it's kind of a throwback to some of the nice stuff that people... Because Mortal Kombat 9 was so back to basics. It was back to 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
which didn't have that much flair, per se. I think this one was more or less of a callback to, like you said, for some of those titles in which they kind of upped the ante, per se. So, yeah, I think you're a little right.
So Alex, what were your thoughts on the multiplayer? I've played multiplayer a little bit, so don't worry, guys, if like you feel I've missed out. I've played a little bit of the multiplayer. Alex, what were your thoughts on it?
I don't have any strong thoughts. I'm not really huge into Mortal Kombat, and I don't play it really that much.
But you're a Sega boy. You had the blood code, or no, you had blood. We're just right off the bat.
Well,
It still had the blood code.
We had Mortal Kombat 2, which had all the blood intact. So,
yes.
And yeah, that was the only Mortal Kombat game I think I've actually tried to thoroughly play, but I've always sucked hard at Mortal Kombat. I've never been good at this game, and it's fun to play with friends, it's fun to play as a fighting game, but other than that, it's nothing big or grandiose to me.
I do have to say, I do like some of the new characters that I got a chance to play with. Specifically, Farah Tor. I do like the fact that you can do essentially like a minus Farah version, which is a little person on top of him.
Yeah.
And you just kind of fight brute strength. And I thought it was fun.
Yeah, no, I like a lot of the new characters that they've established, and also some of the returning characters. I love the fact that Shinnok was brought into this one again. I'm trying to remember her name. I think it's Devorah, the bug lady. She's really fun to play. I also like just because the retro feel, but I love Cassie Cage and Jacqueline Briggs.
Yeah.
The fact that we had daughters of original characters. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this multiplayer session of Mortal Kombat X. When we come back, we're going to dive into the story mode a little bit for Mortal Kombat X and see if it lives up to the MK9 legacy on whether or not it's a better storytelling or worse. And unfortunately, Aldo will not be with us, but he will be with us in Raccoon Spirit.
Raccoon spirits.
Now he has to go to the town of Gotham and be Raccoon Man.
Raccoon Boy. I like Raccoon Boy.
No, Raccoon Boy just makes that sound wrong.
And plus, Batman would probably kick him out of Gotham. So maybe if you try Bloodhaven, you might have better luck.
Maybe. I think
Well,
so.
there you go. At least you can team up with Nightwing.
Yeah.
All right, so we will see you guys in a little bit.